What up, everybody? All right, looks like people are joining. Want to say what's up? I have a special guest that should be joining me. So as you guys are coming on, what up? What up, Boogie, Lynette, Miguel? What is up? Let me know three things when you come in here. Okay, in the comments. What's up, Indy? What up, Jay? I want to say what's up to everybody. In the comments, let me know your name. Let me know your level of experience, newbie, veteran, wholesaler, whatever, and then let me know what market you are in. I'm doing deals across the country, so we need to be networking. So let me know the market. John, always in Buffalo, New York, my buddy. What is going on? Miguel is in Philly. Name your market and level of experience. Make sure you're putting that in the comments. Miguel's in Philly. What's up? All right, our special guest speaker, intermediate Miguel, right on, dude. You wholesaling, flipping, buying and holding, all the above? How long you been doing this? Sterling is up in the business. Veteran, appreciate you, brother. Nationwide, doing his thing. We got to get that deal done. Send me that North Carolina stuff. Boogie, Victor, newbie, Houston, Texas in the house. James, Indianapolis, newbie. What is up? We got John, 4 years, Buffalo. Nigel, we should be doing deals together. Sterling, you already know we're going to do deals together. John McNeil, it's just a matter of time, brother. Jay, I think we might be doing a deal in New York with Jay. Man, this is about doing deals. We are fired up today. So guys, let's jump in this training. Again, if you are new or not new, but just jumped on the live, I need three things from you. Your name, write it in there. The market you are in or investing in, and your level of experience. Newbie, veteran, big baller, 20 years experience, all that kind of good stuff. Mike, what's up, partner? You're in VA flipping? I love that. Love that. Burton, what's up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Justin?
I can already tell, man. Listen, you know what's funny is you got the red light. I literally went from red light to green light. I don't know if you can see it. Wait, where's my red light? Can't get the red light. There we go. I went from red to green. You got the red, but I went money green, man. I went money green. So we're going back. We're going back.
Let's go money green.
All right, dude, guys, I'm very excited to have my guy. Every so often I bring him on to rock the house because probably you're tired of hearing me, right? So I bring in someone smarter, better looking, bigger baller. He's my guy. Lynette, what is going on? Indy, William, look at Burton. Burton's a BC. I already told you. People know you, man. People know you. Build a business. Ronald's in Texas, wholesale newbie. Rick is a newbie in Texas. Karen, what is going on? Tina, love to hear that, guys. This is exciting. We got 40 of you guys on right now. I know more people are going to come, but I need to get this content. I need Burton to rock the house for you. So let's get this training going. Today is going to be all about some secrets about Propstream. I know you guys have heard about Propstream. I'm hoping you have Propstream because it is the only actual service technology that I require people to have so they can be successful. So go to tsofdata.com, TSOF, just like the sign, TSOF, the science of flipping, data.com. They will give you a list of 10,000 person download for free. They will give you a free week for free if you use the promo code TSOF. You can get a free list and a free week, TSOF. Data.com, and use promo code TSOF. And this training is going to be about the secrets that most people don't know how to leverage within Propstream. So this is going to be super important. It quite literally is the only product slash service slash whatever you want to call it that I require people to have because it's something I use probably close to 100 times a day, every single day in my business because we're doing and comping properties all over the country. Doesn't matter the market. I use it for virtually driving for dollars. It is the best system. So again, tsofdata.com. Go there immediately. Right now, as I'm wasting time, put in promo code TSOF to get your free download. At worst, you get 10,000 people download for free. At best, it changes the game for you and you utilize it. So Burton, I'm going to kind of give the mic over to you, my friend, for everyone jumping on. Give me your name, give me your market, give me your experience. Put it in the comments below. I want Burton, as an executive over at Propstream, to start sharing some of the deep, dark secrets that us expert investors know that we've been using for a long time. So I asked him to do my dirty work. Come on. You can share your screen, right, brother?
I sure can. So let me get my screen over to you guys. So hang on just a
Yeah, and
second here.
as you're wasting time, if you just want to introduce yourself a little bit, but
Yeah,
just so
absolutely. So for those that don't know, my name is Burton. I've been with Propstream for nearly a decade now. I'm one of the directors there. Today, just consider me your tour guide and show you kind of what Propstream specializes in. Um, let's actually start there. So, like what Propstream has been doing for 15 plus years now is essentially solving two fundamentals of the industry. The first thing that you got to solve is lead generation. Whether you're a banker, an agent, you wholesale, you fix and flip, you got to find those motivated sellers. And then you also then have to analyze that property, because once a motivated seller calls you back, just like Justin mentioned, you're going to need to know everything about the property details, the financial details of that homeowner, and you're going to need to know how to you're going to need to run comps on that property so you can offer them the right price. So we do both of that: generate leads, analyze a property, and run comps on it. So that's what Propstream has done. Again, I'm here today to just show you guys some really cool stuff, or kind of clear the fog up a little bit when it comes to Propstream. So thanks for having me. So what I have right now in front of the screen is Propstream, and we're a nationwide data provider. And so before I go deep diving into it, let me show you another quick outline here. This is exactly what our system can do. So let me just present my screen here for you guys. There we go. So again, lead generation, analyzing a property. So we can help you build a list. We can help you skip trace, and we can help you market to that list. And that's all part of our lead generation. And then we can help you again analyze a property details, financial information, run comps on that property using public records or MLS records nationwide. Today, I'm here to kind of enlighten you with building a list. I can bore you to death. Trust me, I can have you here for like 4 hours, but I want to really talk about the meat of our system, and that's how to build a list. And then I'm going to talk about List Automator, an enhancement to how people are building their leads, and a feature that's going to help you save time and money. So let's get started here. So in order to build a list with Propstream, you just need to pull up a market. You can search a county, a city, or a zip code. So Justin, I saw some comments in there. Do you want to choose a city that someone mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go in here. Johnny said the website is not working. It is tsofdata.com. T is in Tom, S is in Sam, A is in Alpha, F is in Frank. Data, DATA.com is working. And then use promo code TSOF. We have a newbie in Virginia, which is a state. We have St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay, let's look that up. So St. Louis, here we go. Perfect. So pulling up a city, and the moment you pull up a city, the first thing we're going to give you are all of our records in that market. So right now, I'm like a child in a candy store. I have over 300,000 records I can source through. Now, I can go through them manually. It's 50 per page, and as you can see, I'm on page one of 7,599. But here's the best practice. After you pull up your market, I advise you to go into our filter, which is just to the right of the search bar. And from here, there's really two ways that you can build a list. And I'd like to share with you what those two ways are. So the first way is what I call the traditional method of searching. And the way that that goes is like this. So the traditional method is, and you guys are probably familiar with this. You're probably doing it as we speak, but you go into a market, in this case, St. Louis, and you're going to pick a list. You're going to make sure it's off market. Otherwise, you're going to have to buy through an agent, right? So most of us are going to want off market. Probably going to need equity unless you're doing a short sell or something creative. But if you're wholesaling or fixing and flipping, probably going to want equity on that. and then your property and owner characteristics. Maybe you want a 2-bedroom property. Maybe you want something built before 2000 or after 2000. Maybe you want individually owned. Maybe you want LLC owned. Maybe you want out of state. Maybe you want local. Maybe you want 5 years or 10 years. So this is the traditional method. And what we're doing is just mimicking what investors were doing before Propstream. Grab a list, make sure it's off market, has equity, and it's in the right category of properties that can work with. So let's do that really quick in St. Louis. Once you pull up your market, go into our filter, and we have 19 categories for you to choose from. And let me zoom in just a little bit so we can see the results here. Okay, a little too much. So the 19 categories begin with on market. We have bank owned properties, we have pre foreclosures and liens. We have free and clear tax delinquencies. We have tired landlords, and our very new list, which is called pre probate. You're probably wondering, what the heck is pre probate? I've heard of probate, but what is pre probate? So this is not probate. This is not showing you records of properties that are in probate. What this is just going to show you are properties where someone's passed away and their name is still attached to the title. Whether the property is going through probate or not, we don't know, because we don't collect that information yet. But right now, we are able to show you, like this property off Melissa Joe Lane, that a homeowner or someone on title, in this case, the second homeowner, unfortunately is no longer with us. So it's not showing you a property that's going through, it's just showing you someone, again, who's passed away and their name is on title. Now, just like any other list, obviously every list is sensitive, so tread lightly here. But when you pick a list, that's the first step of the traditional search. Now, I need to make sure it's off market, and I can do that in the MLS status area of our additional filters. So here on the left-hand side, you have over 100 plus filters to play with. But the most important one right now, this is the second rule I would recommend, is just make sure that the property is off market. So MLS status, on market, no. And you're able to do this because we've connected our pre-probate data with our MLS data. As a matter of fact, every list is connected with every other list, right? So that's what makes Propstream unique, is that every data set communicates with one another. So for today, I'd like that pre-probate property that's off market, and it must have the equity that I need. So that can be found in our valuation and equity section right over here. And one can put a minimum equity or a maximum. So if you're looking for negative equity, you can put perhaps a 0 in max, and we'll show you all the ones that have negative equity, if there are any with negative equity. And you can see we have a few here. If you need positive equity, you can put maybe a 30% minimum. Maybe you're looking to wholesale these properties. So feel free to put a maximum, a minimum, or put 0 for max to see negative equity. And finally, after you're done with your equity, the property owner preferences that you'd like. So that concludes the 4 rules that you need to apply to do the traditional type of search, right? So pre-probate, off market, a 30% in equity. As for my property owner characteristics, property characteristics are located here. By selecting that, you can choose residential, commercial. So for today, let's do residential. And as for property type, there's a lot of different residential properties. So I'd like to choose maybe a single family or a duplex or mobile home, perhaps, if you want that. Beds, bathroom. So if you just need, let's say, a 2 to 4 bedroom, feel free. Maybe you want something built before 2000, especially if you're a fix and flipper, right? You're probably looking to find something that has aged a little bit. Numbers of stories, whether it's in an HOA or even stay away from the HOA. So I know fix and flippers, some of us don't like the HOA, right? So we can now build a list and stay away from HOA environments. And that's our property characteristics. The last stop is your owner preferences or characteristics. So here at the top, do you want the owner occupying the property or not occupying the property? That's an absentee owner, by the way. Do you want them answering their mail? Again, someone's passed away in this example, but there could still be someone still answering their mail. Maybe a daughter, a son, maybe a spouse, or perhaps you're looking for the ones that are no longer answering their mail. And you might need to do more research with this one, but this is something that you can do. So for this one, let's do the owner occupied ones that are still answering their mail. Maybe there's a spouse still living there that we can talk to about selling that property. And then ownership info. Now, before that, we can apply pre-foreclosure records to our search. We can apply lien bankruptcy records to our search, even mortgage information. Consider this: someone's passed away, and what if there's still an open mortgage on that property? Maybe that open mortgage might be a little too much for the surviving spouse or children to take care of. So again, we have a lot of data. As long as you're following these rules, you're not going to go anywhere wrong. It's just a matter of what are your preferences, and you get to create your own story along the way. Now, for owner preferences, I'd like perhaps a house that's been owned for maybe 5 years or more, and the owner I'd like to speak to is an individual. And now, instead of 300,000 records, I get 220 records. And the last thing I can do is check off the properties that I want individually or all of them through unique properties. And so by selecting that, I'll be able to select all the unique properties and then hit add to lists. So by hitting add to lists, this will deduct from your 10,000 records. And so with Justin's link, guys, it's a 7-day trial. You'll get 50 leads during the trial. And then once you subscribe, 10,000 records every month. So take full advantage of it. And again, as long as you're building the leads, the list correctly, you shouldn't be exceeding 10,000 unless you just save the whole area. I wouldn't recommend that at all. But in this case, we can now call it our St. Louis pre-probate with the mortgage. And that's, again, a unique part about Propstream is in the past, imagine walking to the county and saying, hey, I'd like to find all the deceased homeowners that are off market, that have equity, that also have a mortgage still on their property, and then wait for them to get back to you. That's not going to happen. The only reason that that's happening today is because of 15 years of collecting data, we've connected the data that didn't connect before. So now I don't need to speak to a realtor. Not that you shouldn't speak to one. I mean, you should definitely partner up with them, but I don't necessarily need to bug one anymore to see what's on or off market, right? As for mortgage information, that's hard to get personally. And so you have a company like Propstream to get that data for you to know which property owners are probably facing the burden of an open mortgage after someone's passed away. So this right here is just an example of a traditional search. And it didn't have to be pre-probate. It could have been a whole different category. So now that you know how to do the traditional search, let me show you another way to build a list. And that's called the 4 golden rules. This is something that I figured out along the way. And I kind of came up with this because I kept hearing people say, I'm not getting a list fast enough, or my market is oversaturated with a lot of investors. And that could happen, right? Maybe the county's shut down and you're not getting those pre-foreclosure records as you were before every week, right? Maybe it's every 3 weeks now, right? Or again, maybe you're like in Phoenix, Arizona, where there's so many investors that you have to now kind of get a little creative. And that's where the 4 golden rules comes into play. So here's how it goes. Pretty much we're stealing rules number 2, 3, and 4 from the traditional search and prioritizing that. That's the first thing we're going to do. So with the 4 golden rules, we're going to make sure it's off market. We're going to make sure it has that equity you need, and then the property and owner characteristics that you want. So today, I'm going to go into St. Louis again. And instead of picking a list right off the bat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do those first rules. I'm going to make sure it's off market. So let's just start with off market first. Let's start with properties that have maybe 35% in equity today. And then let's add the property and owner preferences that I like. So go back to residential, single family. Maybe it's today 2 to 4, built before 1940 to 1970, perhaps. And then your owner preferences. So I'd like non-owner occupied properties, right? Or maybe occupied properties that are occupied with the homeowner. So if you want to knock on a door, they're going to be there. And then your owner information. So today I'd like to look for property owners that have owned the property for 20 years and they're an individual. So nothing here screams motivation yet, right? All we're looking for right now is we've built essentially a category of properties. Right now, there's 5,700 of them. And right, what these 5,700 represent are off market with the right amount of equity and property type that we need and the type of owners we'd like to talk to, right? Nothing screaming motivation yet. That's where the fourth rule comes into play. The fourth rule is the homeowner's situation. And you see, this is much different than the traditional search because back in the day, investors had to choose a list. There's no going around that. You couldn't go around not getting an equity list. You couldn't go around not getting a vacant list. You had to get a list and then work off that list. That's why it's called the traditional search. Today, because data is connected in all sorts of different ways with Propstream, I don't need to create a list anymore or choose a list. I can just add a bunch of different filters, push a bunch of different buttons to create my own motivation. Like, for example, instead of choosing a list, these are already off market with equity and owned for 20 years. How about we find the ones with maybe 2 mortgages? I mean, 2 mortgage payments after 20 years of ownership? What are you doing? Right? Let's talk. Maybe you're at the brink of missing a payment and going into pre-foreclosure. I don't know, but let me talk to you and see what's going on. Again, they're not as motivated as someone in a pre-foreclosure scenario, but that's why pre-foreclosures are so competitive, is because everybody's going after the pre-foreclosure lists. And if you only have 5,000 pre-foreclosures versus 20,000 investors, well, yeah, that's why there's competition. But this right here is what people are missing out on because everyone's waiting for a list. And so when you're not choosing a list, it's so foreign, it's so new, right? Like it almost makes you antsy because you're like, okay, but what list are you going to go after? I'm not going after a list anymore. I'm going after a situation, and that situation is individuals with 2 mortgage payments, right? Or maybe instead of 2, how about 3 mortgage payments, right? Make it even worse. Like, why do you have 3 mortgage payments, right? You miss one of those, you may end up going into default, or you might have to file for bankruptcy. So here are 29 individuals that are off market. They have the right amount of equity you need, right? They're owned by a person for 20 years, single family. The situation is 3 mortgages. We either can wait for them to show up on a pre-foreclosure one day and then compete with everybody, or we can start building relationships now. Call and just say, hi, I'm interested in buying, and just seeing if you would be interested in selling. And maybe they tell you about their mortgage situation. Maybe they don't, but check in with them every so often. So this right here can only be done because of all the data sets coming together. So this is the 4 golden rules. Here's just one example, 29 properties. We can call this the St. Louis 3 mortgage list, right? Once you understand that, sky becomes the limit. It really does. I've seen people use property characteristics. So instead of 3 mortgages, I've seen people do a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom scenario. Time after time, agents get someone that knocks at their office and says, hey, I need to upgrade my house. Okay, why don't we just find them ahead of time? Why don't we look for the 3 bedrooms, 1-bathroom properties, right? That have been owned for 20 years. You've been sharing 1 bathroom for 20 years. Yeah, maybe it's time to upgrade. Or maybe you don't want the house anymore. So let me buy your 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom property so that when we fix and flip it, we can put a 2-bathroom in there, right? Or a 2nd bathroom in there. To pretty much increase our ROI. So rather than finding a pre-foreclosure that just so happens to be a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom property, and then being able to put a 2nd bathroom later on, Why don't we just go find the 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom properties right now? Why wait for them to be on a list? Here's what happens when you wait for them to show up on a lien list. The 1,035 properties, yeah, they go down to how many? 36 of them. So out of those 1,035 properties, only 36 of them didn't make a payment. Does that mean the other 1,000 properties don't want to talk to you? That's for you to find out. So this is called the 4 golden rules, okay? Very powerful way of approaching generating leads. I highly encourage you to encompass both. I mean, you're probably doing traditional search, so start applying the 4 golden rules. Once you get familiar with that, you can smash them together. Here's an example right here for you. So I'm going to look, instead of for a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom property, how about this one right here? I'm going to look for a senior owner, right? 25 years of ownership, reverse mortgage, just to give you guys an idea of what this filter means. But the senior owner is living in the house, they're occupying it, but here's the partial motivation factor right here. Numbers of stories, 2-story building that you're in. That's walking up and walking down on a day-to-day basis. I'm 35 with the back. Trust me, I'm not buying a 2nd-story building, but there are some people that are in one, and then over time, they physically can't get up to the 2nd story anymore, right? So right now, I'm finding not just senior owners, but senior owners that are in a 2-story building. Here are my 307 results. Check those off, and we can call those the St. Louis senior owners, or SO 2-story, and hit save. That's building a list with Propstream. So I wanted to highlight that. I know, as you know, inventory is, that's why I'm hearing people saying, oh, inventory is scarce, and that's why people are paying overpriced. Well, if you're just building a list, yeah, it could be scared, but trust me, there's problems every single day. Some of them just don't fall on a list that you can just pick from. Some of them you're going to have to, just like I did, create a situation that may show up on a list eventually, but hopefully you can get to them before that happens. Now I'd like to show you something that we created. It took 2 years of development, but it's called List Automator. So here's the thing. We just built 3 lists, right? What's the next step? We're going to probably skip trace that list and then market to that list over a course of 3 to 4 or 5 months, right? So I showed you a few moments ago, what that lead generation looks like. So we just built that list, 3 of them. Now we can get phone numbers and emails, and then we can send postcards, voicemails, and emails. And again, this part right here, the marketing, anywhere from a month to 6 months, because you got to do more than one set of marketing, right? So that part right here, no one really talks about this, but this part is expensive. That thing right there could break the bank. If you're not marketing correctly to the right leads, you're going to get in trouble, right? And so not only do you have to kind of balance the marketing part, right? Not send out elements to properties that no longer need to be marketed to, but you're in constant of building new records, because the moment you stop building a list and start focusing on marketing, new records are coming in, right? So you have to have pretty much 2 heads and 4 arms, right? You have to constantly build leads and then constantly market to the leads that you're building, and then you can't sleep in between. That's why we created List Automator. So List Automator enhances part 1. Here's what it does. It takes your search and your filters and puts it into complete automation. Essentially, we put it in an area within your My Properties. So My Properties is where we store your marketing lists. It's right over here. Here's our 3 lists. But if you have List Automator, there's this new area called Automated Lists. And I want you to think of this as the VIP section, right? You go to a club, you get the general admission, great, figure it out, right? But if you get the VIP section, bottle service, they're going to treat you like royalty. They're going to take care of you. That's what List Automator is going to do. It's going to allow me to grab a list that I built, like my pre-probate with the mortgage, and hit this blue button here at the top. Now, this button only appears if you have List Automator. So if you don't see it right now, you probably don't have it. But when you do have List Automator and you click on this button, there are two things we like to do for you. The first thing is when new properties show up with this same criteria, St. Louis, pre-probate, mortgage, what do you want us to do with them? We can either add them to this list that you just built, or maybe add it to another list for you, or notify you and separate these new records for you. So this right here is amazing because I never have to search my filters again. You see this long filter that we built earlier? Once I automate my lists, that's what this first part is. Hey, when new properties match that filter, just add it to this list or another list or put it in a separate box for me. I prefer this route. A lot of people like to add it to their list automatically. I'm a guy that likes to separate things and then move things around myself. So this is my preferred option. And I would say this is actually our more popular option across the board. And get a load of this. Not only can we separate these new records or add them to the same list for you, we can even send you an email notification when that's happening, either immediately, daily, or weekly. So think about this. I can take these three lists with three different filters and automate every single one of them. And then I can just sit back or go to sleep. And tomorrow, if any new records fit those three criterias, I'm going to know by an email, just like that. And those records will be separated or automatically added to that list for me, right? So I never have to search again. That saves me time. Again, the constant having to build that list because new records are coming in, we got that for you, right? But the marketing part, okay, so great, you're telling me about the new records, but how does that save me with the marketing part? The bottom half. When properties change from your criteria. So we have 220 properties that we just saved right now with a specific criteria that we want, right? Off market, equity, pre-probate with a mortgage. But what happens when it sells? What happens when it goes on market? What happens if they remove the person's name off the title that passed away? Well, it's no longer in your filter, right? Well, that's what this option does for you. When properties change from your criteria, so if any properties you saved no longer meet your criteria because, again, they sold or they're on market or whatever the reason is that it no longer fits your criteria, we can either remove it from the list automatically or move it to another list for you. So that way you can maybe do a follow-up in the next 30 days or something, or separate the records that don't meet your criteria, or highlight them, I should say, and then you can delete them or leave them in your list. This is List Automator. So for the first time ever, I don't have to constantly log in every single week and build a list, because now I can build a list once, the St. Louis pre-probate list, hit the automate list button, and when new records come in, get not only them separated, but get an immediate notification. And if tomorrow I log in and 3 of these properties go on market, then I'm going to be able to see them in a separate area and do whatever I want to do with them myself. And I can also get an email notification. And when you hit the save button, your marketing list, the velvet rope opens up, and we're going to let them right through into the automated list area. So come right on in. You're now VIP. So your St. Louis list is now in the VIP section. And again, what is this section doing? Every day, we're just refreshing your list against your filters. So if new records have come in the next day with your filters, you're going to know. If properties in your list no longer meet your filters, you're going to know. It kind of goes like this, right? Once you automate your list, you're probably going to log off and go on vacation or go eat lunch or whatever it may be, right? A week, 2 weeks have gone by. Then you're going to be like, all right, well, got to do marketing again. Got to find the new records again. Well, if you have List Automator, when you log in, you no longer have to build that list ever again. What you do is go straight into your My Properties and click on your VIP list. Again, you must have List Automator for this. Starts at $27, and we do give you a 2-week trial period. But once you log in, let's say a week later, you just go into My Properties and you click on any of your automated lists, and this is what would happen. If I click on my Vegas list of 114 properties, it tells me how many new properties meet my criteria today. So yeah, you had 114 when you last logged off, but today there's 36 new records that meet your criteria. And so I can check off these new records and add them to this list or another list. So not only is it automatically telling me the 36 properties that meet this specific criteria, saving me my time right here, but it's also going to tell me about the 92 in my list that no longer meet my criteria, either because it's sold, or I'm sorry, on market, or just sold, or maybe it's vacant and you didn't want that. And so every list that's being automated, you're going to see either the add or remove or things automatically being adjusted for you, right? So that's List Automator. And here's the cherry on top. We added one extra feature to List Automator that just, I mean, if List Automator already blew your mind, get a load of this. When you're in the My Properties area and you have List Automator, you get this button here called Import Lists, and it allows you to import an outside list into Propstream. So if you wanted to, you can bring in a FSBO list from a different website, or a list of people that didn't pay their bond, perhaps, or had their bond paid, or people that just don't like pets. You can import them into Propstream using this feature and get all of our data on top of that list, right? So if you, let's say you pulled a list from somewhere else and you didn't know if those properties were on market, and you don't even know if those properties have equity, we have that data. Take that list and bring it in, and we're going to give you that information. So this right here, guys, is pretty much the end of today's demonstration. I just really want to highlight how to generate leads with Propstream. It's become one of the hottest topics right now. I keep hearing people say we're running out of leads, or there's not enough inventory. There are tons of inventory because there are tons of homeowners out there that are facing situations that you guys can solve. So if you kind of just take a step back a little bit and not just, aim for a list. I mean, you should be doing that. I'm not telling you not to do that, but kind of brighten your horizon a little bit, right? After you go after the list, what filters can I use, with other filters to create maybe a situation that could appear on a bankruptcy list, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So Justin, thank you so much, man, for giving me your platform and showing people how to build a traditional list, pre-probate with the mortgage, and the other stuff, the 3 mortgages, the 2-story senior owners list, the 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom list, and the List Automator feature, man.
The List Automator is a game changer, especially for those that are, constantly pulling lists, actively, heavily marketing. That will be a game changer. Uploading your own list in there and it automatically filtering out the filters you want to add to your current list. I mean, for someone like myself, that is a game changer because I do so much marketing, right? I'll pull 100,000 people a month to market to. And so we have a couple questions. If you do have questions, I'd like you to ask them. So I invite you to ask them. Just put them in the comment, what your questions might be. And remember to type your name first, because sometimes it doesn't show up your name. But this is the time for Burton to help you guys. If you guys don't have Propstream, you see the value in it already. Make sure you get it, and make sure you get at least a 10,000 person download for free. Go to tsofdata.com. You'll get a free week plus a 10,000 person list for absolutely free. So Linda says, can you cross-reference leads to ensure it's not on 2 lists?
Absolutely. That's called list stacking. So here's how you do it. You're first going to obviously have the properties on a marketing list. So let me show you what it would look like in our end. So when you have the Propstream pulled up and you have your properties on your screen here. So in order to find properties that are in more than one list, here's how I do it. I click on all saved properties here at the very top, and then I scroll to the very far right. So you can use your mouse, or there's a scroll bar down here at the bottom. Scroll to the very right, Linda, and look for this column right here. So let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm showing you. The column is called marketing lists, right? It's pretty self-explanatory here, but a lot of people don't even catch it. So here's what you do. if you see a number one, what that is showing you is that this property is only in one list. So what I do is if I want to see a property that's in two lists or three lists, either to get rid of the duplicates or to find maybe extremely motivated homeowners. I mean, if you're in more than one list, something might be up, right? So here's what I do. I go to all save properties and it's in normal default order, but I click on it twice, right? So if you click on it once, it's lowest number to the highest number. But what I do is I click on it twice. So it's highest number to lowest number. Now, Linda, you can do this with any list. I just like doing it with all my saved properties, right? Like if I'm going to do it from one list to the next, I might as well just do it across the board. So might take a minute. In my case, there's 28,000 records here. But in a few moments, it's going to start giving me the numbers. It's going to say 4 or 3 or 2. Oh, here you go. Boom. So here are properties that are in two lists. And here's an example. We just built 3 St. Louis lists, right? 3 different categories. And there's a number 2 to a St. Louis. Say, I don't search St. Louis. So I'm pretty sure this is probably what we just searched. So duplicates don't count against you. This property, although it's in 2 lists, it only counted against me once, but it is in 2 lists. And so in order to identify it, I use the marketing list column, and then we even tell you what 2 lists that they're in. Now, here's another trick. Let's say you feel like I want to separate all the properties in 2 lists. Then go to this blank box here and just punch the number 2 or the number 3 or the number 4. And whatever number you punch, that's what we're going to isolate only. Now that you have them, you can check them all off and then hit actions and either delete them because you don't want these, or maybe create a new marketing list. Call it the extremely motivated sellers, right? Or the 2 lists homeowners, but whatever you'd like to call it. And Linda, I hope that answered your question. How to identify duplicates. It's in the My Properties, and it's the marketing list column header right over here. So I hope that answers your question. Great question, by the way.
Yeah, and Alicia says, sorry I came late. How do you use List Automator to your advantage to better to do manual it automatic? Well, she's saying, how do I use it to her advantage? And I mean, Alicia, I would probably just say, like, go back and quickly watch the last 10 minutes because it's very obvious. Your issue, as you're a student of mine, I know what your issue is, which is organization. It does what you've been asking about, which is as new leads come in, it will either populate your existing list or you could actually manually put it in a new folder. I would encourage you to go manually put it in a new folder so you know the lists.
Absolutely. And that's right here what Justin's referring to. All of these lists I'm automating. You know, hey, you're already working on 717 properties right now. So these 9 new records, I can click on them, highlight them, and create a new marketing list. Maybe call it the same thing, Oklahoma failed listings. Maybe call it Oklahoma failed listings part 2, right? So great way again of organizing your leads, but ultimately saving time so that you don't have to constantly go into the search and remember your filters, and then not only remember your filters, but differentiate what was there already versus that wasn't there already, right? This right here, the list automator does that for you so that those new 9 properties can be separated, then skip traced, and then market to separately. Because again, these are new records. Maybe you've already done 3 or 4 postcards to the first list. So these guys need to be treated differently as it's a new cycle with these 9 properties.
Yep.
Yeah, folders are awesome. Yeah. A lot of people don't know we have that. Folders are right here, the plus sign. Actually, these 3 symbols, not too many people know we have them. The magnifying glass lets you search by a marketing list name, a search date. So essentially when you actually put it in the system. And the next button allows you to organize it by name, date created, or the last time you modified a list. But my personal favorite is the plus sign. As again, you might have team members or you might be in multiple markets. Here you can create a blank marketing list. This is important because, for example, if I wanted to create an Oklahoma new records list, you can create a blank list. And the reason I think that's really cool is that blank list can be used for List Automator. You see how I have a blank list here? I can click on my failed listings part 2 and say, hey, automate this list and put all the new records in my Oklahoma new records blank list I just created, right? So you can funnel List Automator to put it into a new list for you. Again, really cool feature. But also in the plus sign, folders. A lot of people don't even know we have this, but you can create an Oklahoma folder, whatever folder, and start separating your leads into different folders. I've seen people with thousands of lists, and I'm seeing them scroll down for days. I say, hey, haven't you used the folder before? And when I show them that, they're just, wow, I didn't even know you can do that. Because once you do that, you can click on a list, actions, add it to a folder, either create a new folder right then and there, or add it to one that you already have. And again, start having different zip code folders, different city folders, however you want to break down your lists. So thank you for bringing that up, Alicia. Not too many people know about that. So I'm happy you caught on to that really quick.
She's a very bright lady. She's one of my top students, just collecting checks left and right. It's been fantastic being
I
your
can
coach.
tell she's very keen on detail, and that's going to
She
get you
is.
far. That's
She
definitely going to
is.
get you far.
She's also asking, when you delete properties, why do they not take the contact out?
So that's being developed, but think of it as like a carbon copy. They're technically two different systems. So every time you save a property, a parent file goes to my properties, and then a carbon copy goes into the contacts area, right? So this whole area is in a different part of our server. This is in a different part. And so they don't communicate right now. We're in the middle of a huge development phase right now where that's going to completely change. I can't give up the goose eggs right now, but it won't be that way. So right now, the way it works, as you caught on, is if I delete a my properties property or a list, the contact information is still here. And the reason that is the case is, again, you might have skip traced that address, essentially paid for it. So we don't want to delete it, right? It's going to stay in there with that contact information. Or you might have manually edited that contact information because you spoke to a neighbor or a relative. And so we don't want you to punish yourself by deleting a marketing list and then deleting the contacts. It is slightly sloppy, but it's going to get better very soon. So look out for that.
Awesome. All right. Anyone else have last second question? We'll take one more if you got it. All right, guys, if you don't have Propstream, this is the only thing I for sure am adamant about. You need Propstream, end of story, to get to where you want to go. So tsofdata.com, use promo code TSOF to get the discount for a week, 10,000 free downloads. Burton, you've been amazing, bro. I love bringing you on from time to time, showing people the tricks. So thank you, dude.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. We'll be back. I mean, we could talk about the mobile app if you guys need me to. So just let Justin know what you guys like me to share, and I'll be back for that topic. So
My
thank you,
guy.
Justin.
All right, guys, tsofdata.com, promo code TSOF. And if enough people have it, I will bring Burton back. Appreciate you, dude. That'll be it.
Take care.
Later.